Thanks for joining us again. I'm George Cruz, your host of the Senior Report. Today we're visiting Del Air Nursing and Rehabilitation Center and interviewing Personal Touch Home Health Agency and Veterans Home Care Home Health Agency, who've partnered up to provide services for our seniors. So I want you to try to stay tuned for the entire show because we've got lots of information for you that may be helpful for you as our senior or a caregiver of a senior who may need certain services like home health agency services or nursing care services. There's a lot going on around town since I've last seen you. Happy holidays to you all. It's December, and there's lots going on around town, like I said. December announcements for 2014. Senior citizen identification cards, ID cards, will be issued in Linden residents 50 years or older at the Gregorio Center, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. There's hypertension screening, senior citizen line dancing, knitting and crocheting for a cause, non-emergency medical transportation, arts and crafts. There's always so much to do at the Gregorio Center. There's ceramic classes, Wednesdays, December 10th. The deadline to register is December 9th. I always like to mention these things because there's so much to do at the Gregorio Center and in Linden as a whole. Since I last spoke to you, we have a new mayor, and we want to congratulate Derek Armstead, mayor-elect of Linden, and wish the outgoing mayor the very, very best. I'd like to try to interview Mr. Armstead in the future, and so that we can get to know our mayor, and hopefully that will be coming up within the next month or so. So now I'd like to take it back to Del Air Nursing and Rehabilitation Center and speak to Meg Lebetz and Evan Coltman from Personal Touch Home Health Agency and Veterans Home Health Agency. Thanks for joining us, folks. I'm your host of the Senior Report, George Cruz. We're taping today at Del Air Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, located in Linden, New Jersey, with two guests from Personal Touch Home Health Services, Meg Lebetz, and Veteran Home Care Service, Evan Coltman. Meg is the marketing coordinator for Personal Touch Home Services, and our show tries to connect you with home health services, products, and services that will benefit seniors and their caregivers. So we will talk briefly to the Meg Lebetz and Evan Coltman from Personal Touch and Veteran Home Care Services. We'll start with you, Meg. How long has Personal Touch Home Health Services been in business?
Personal Touch has been in business since 1974, so 40 years. We first opened in Jamaica, Queens, New York, and we are privately owned and operated by a doctor and lawyer who are still actively involved in the business. And we operate in 13 states.
Very good. I know you haven't been with the company for 40 years, right?
I was born in 1974.
What locations are you in New Jersey?
We are in Neptune, Union City, Roselle Park, and Bloomfield.
Well, that covers
we have 4 offices.
Covers
yes.
a wide area of New Jersey.
Yes.
And what type of payment sources does Personal Touch accept?
We accept some insurances, we accept private pay, veterans benefits, and we are one of the few home care agencies that do accept Medicaid. So we have a very large percentage of Medicaid and also DIFUS cases.
Well, Meg, one of the things I want to do is I want to connect our seniors and their home caregivers with an appropriate referral. Our viewers want to take down numbers, websites, but we also want to hear about the services that you provide. And you call yourself Personal Touch, so I can imagine that your home health aides
yes.
have a special way of caring for our residents. What services do you provide?
We provide mainly non-skilled care. Basically, the services would be provided by a certified home health aide, and they would help in the activities of daily living, such as bathing, feeding, meal preparation, toileting, dressing, and transferring. Basically, all of the things that would enable a person to remain in their home. They're called the activities of daily living.
Yes. So we always want to make sure that if you're watching our show, the Senior Report, that you're protected.
Yes.
You're well cared for. So are your home health aides and employees bonded employees? Do you do a background check,
Yes.
drug screenings?
Yes.
So forth?
We run thorough background screens, and we do vigorous background checks and drug testing. We also check their licenses twice a month, and they are bonded, licensed, and insured by the agency.
So how do you go about hiring your employees?
Basically, they come in for, step again, sorry.
All right.
George, let me start on you. Ask your question.
Okay.
Go ahead, Margaret.
So Meg, how do you go about hiring your employees?
Basically, they come into the office and we meet them face to face, and they're required to bring in their identification and their license. They also complete a packet of information, and they take some tests, and we initiate the process in that way. If they meet those minimum requirements, then we proceed to an orientation. We do the check with the State Board of Nursing on their license, and we check at least 3 references, 2 professional and 1 personal.
Okay. Now, Personal Touch is accredited by CHAP.
Yes.
Can you explain what CHAP means and
Sure.
why is that important to our viewers?
We are accredited by CHAP. They are the Community Health Accreditation Program. It means that this is basically another thing that sets us apart from other agencies. It means that we adhere with a set of quality and performance above the minimum standard. We also work very closely with Medicaid, so our offices are held to much stricter practices.
Very good. So there's an organization.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you explain how the process works to get a family member care?
Sure. The initial process basically we're able to initiate the care plan within 48 hours of receiving the referral. And basically we receive the referral, we follow up with a family member. If it's necessary, I will go to the patient's home or possibly the hospital, or we just consult with the social worker over the phone. We take some very basic information and we start to investigate a payer source, whether it be private pay or Medicaid. If it is Medicaid, we do ask that the patient has a Medicaid number that's already given. We don't really assist with them going about getting Medicaid, but if they are already given a number, we work with their caseworker if it's a managed Medicaid. Within that 48 hours, we are able to get doctor's orders for the home care, and we can assess how many hours the patient actually needs. And between the social worker, the patient, a family member, and us, we can get things rolling within 48 hours.
Okay, Meg. So in a setting like this, we're at Delaware Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. Can a social worker from here contact you if a patient was admitted from a local hospital?
Yes.
And they're ready for discharge? Does a social worker contact you
Yes.
with the referral?
Yes.
So will you come in to see the patient
If
the
necessary, I do, and or you're able to fax the social worker can fax the referral to me, or call it in or email it, and I do follow up very promptly. I take phone calls in the evening, I take them on the weekend, and we initiate some kind of plan, and it ties into our name, Personal Touch. So every plan is different. We don't really follow the same plan for every patient because it's according to that patient's needs.
Okay, so if you're discharged from a nursing home, a subacute rehabilitation unit after a surgery or knee replacement, hip replacement, or cardiac surgery, and you're going to need home health services, you can request that from your social worker at the subacute unit, whichever unit you may be. We happen to be at Delaware Nursing subacute unit. And the social worker will refer you to a home health agency who may visit you here, do a quick assessment, and set things up for home health services at home. Now, you can tie other services in if you want to maximize the services that are available to you. A lot of folks don't know what's available to them until they actually need the service and they're in a position where they're going to need a referral. So that's why we have Evan Coltman here today. So I didn't forget you, Evan, but how did Personal Touch become involved and partner with Veterans Home Care?
We basically have had patients in the past from Veterans Home Care, and Evan actually brought it to our attention that he thought it would be a great thing for us to work together. And since we do visit a lot of the same places and have the same contacts, we're able to introduce both services together.
Okay.
And it's really been going very well.
Right. Now, it's essentially what we're trying to do is relay to people that there is a funding source through utilizing VA benefits to help fund the cost of private duty home care services.
Well, Evan, a lot of our seniors are veterans and are not aware of how to access these services. Can you help with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the first challenge and the reason that I love doing stuff like this is to get the information out there, so that veterans and surviving spouses of veterans know that they might be eligible for benefits from the VA to help fund their private duty home care. I've seen the regional director of a VA facility say that the aid and attendance benefit, which is what we're referring to, is one of the most underutilized, most unknown benefit that there is that the VA offers. And why is that? It's just a matter of how much information is out there. How do we relay it to everybody? And this is really one of the great ways. So if you're a veteran or the surviving spouse of a veteran, you might be eligible for a benefit called, or commonly referred to as, aid and attendance. And that's really what we want to make sure that people are exploring if they're eligible.
So what does this benefit provide exactly?
So the benefit is essentially providing funding to help cover the cost of long-term care services. We're home care, so that's obviously a long-term care service, but it could also fund or help fund the cost of assisted living and skilled nursing and also daycare. Those are the major long-term care services that I know of. So that's essentially what people are struggling with, is to pay for those costs, which are reoccurring every month, and difficult to come up with the funds to cover it.
All right. Who is eligible for this service, Evan?
So for this benefit in particular, there's 3 requirements to be eligible for it. And the easiest way to remember it is to remember the 3 M's. This is the way I like to remember it. Okay. So you have your military requirement, your medical, and money. Okay. Let me just talk briefly about each 3. Okay. Military. Veteran had to have served at least 90 days active duty, 1 day during a wartime period, or the surviving spouse of a veteran that served, that met that criteria. That's military. Medical is the permanent and regular need for assistance with activities of daily living due to a non-service connected disability. And it's important to point out that this benefit is specifically for a non-service connected disability. And this is the challenge with most veterans, that they don't know that they're eligible because they weren't service, or there's no injury they have that was sustained during service time, that they are eligible for this benefit. This is specifically for a non-service connected disability. The third requirement is money, means. There is financial limitations on both income and assets to be eligible for this benefit. So it's case specific. It's not like Medicaid where you can give strict numbers. It's based on the individual's gross monthly income versus their unreimbursed monthly medical expenses. And of course, age and marital status plays into that as well. So that gives you a kind of a brief idea of who's eligible for it. And if you really want to see in depth, if you're specifically are eligible for it, of course, you can give us a call or call George, and he'll refer you to one of us.
All right. So how long does it last for, and is it possible that the program might end because of funding?
Okay, so we didn't really talk about what the actual dollar amounts or figures that it can fund toward the cost of your long-term care, home care, daycare, assisted living, skilled nursing is based on your status as a single veteran, a married veteran, or the surviving spouse of a veteran. There are 3 different amounts. So for a single veteran, the maximum benefit provides about $1,760 per month. That's the maximum amount. You can use that toward the cost of that long-term care, daycare, home care, assisted living. For a surviving spouse, it's $1,130. Just went up, cost of living 1.7%, so about $1,149 I think this year. And then for a veteran that has a spouse, a married veteran, it's a little bit more. It's $2,158 or close to $2,200. Those are the maximum benefits. Now these are monthly amounts that will continue as long as you stay in compliance, as long as these expenses continue, for as long as you need it. This is not this is for a permanent disability, so it's not a temporary benefit, and it's a lifelong benefit. As far as it ending, it would take an act of Congress to end or amend this benefit, so that would be a very unpopular move.
Not only unpopular, but how much does Congress really do nowadays?
Yeah, probably wouldn't.
How does one apply for this benefit, Evan? Our seniors have caregivers at home, and they're going to need help in accessing this. So how does the senior or their caregiver access this service?
Okay, so there are several different ways to apply. There are veteran service officers that work for the county and state. There are veteran service officers that are in the nonprofit orgs like the Legion, VFW. Of course, agencies like myself, I'm a home care agency, but we have a VA accredited attorney, so we are able to assist people in applying. We do the applications ourselves. The one thing I would say is if you're going to apply for the benefit, make sure to use a representative or somebody that knows what they're doing. It doesn't necessarily have to cost you anything. It shouldn't cost you anything. In fact, it's federally prohibited to charge a veteran for applying for a fee for applying for veterans benefits. Of course, we don't do that. We're a home care company. We charge for home care, and we use the funding from this benefit to help pay for it. But like I said, the one thing I would say is if you're going to use veterans home care, that's great, or use a veteran service officer from the county, state, or one of the nonprofit orgs, so that you're well represented in filing your claim. Because if you send a claim yourself and you've never filled one out before, chances are you're not doing it perfectly right, and that's why the adjudication time can take seemingly forever.
I see. Can you give me an example of how long it may take?
Well, and I'll give you an example. I'm correcting a claim that somebody did themselves with the help of a family member. It was filed in June of 13. Okay, so we are now in the last month of 2014. It is not even close to being adjudicated.
Wow.
So I'm gonna send in, and I saw the actual original application. It was just done incorrectly, sent to the wrong district RO. So we're going to send an amendment down to the Philly Pension Center and get it going. And we also can, if adjudication times takes a long time, we can also get the help of a congressman involved. All congressmen have congressional liaisons in the VA's regional offices that can help if there's an exorbitant amount of time the VA is taking to adjudicate the claim.
Okay. So if you are going to access this Veterans Home Care Services and applying for aid and attendance, you can try to do it on your own. It's a lengthy process. You may want to get someone, an expert involved in it, like Evan Coltman and the Veterans Home Care, who can help navigate you through the process. Evan, is there anything that you want to tell our seniors and their caregivers, including your contact information?
Sure. Veterans Home Care, by the way, is a private company started by a caregiver. We have no VA affiliation. I just want to point that out. We're a private company, so we provide home care, but we help people apply for this benefit. First, see if they're eligible for it, then apply for it, and then get it to fund the home care. So you can look us up on our website at veteranshomecare.com. You can also call our office number here in New Jersey, 973-400-1395. And we've been open here in New Jersey for about 5 years. We started out at St. Louis 12 years ago, but I'm assuming everybody here is local that's going to be watching.
Yes.
So just call the office number 973-400-1395, and we'll help you just to see if you just want to see if you're eligible. Give us a call. We'll be happy to do it.
And do you have a website that they can access?
Yeah, the www.veteranshomecare.com, spelled out all one word with the S, veteranshomecare.com.
Very good.
Thank
Meg,
you.
if there's anything you'd like to get across to our seniors and their caregivers today, including your website and number and any other information you may want to share
Sure.
with our seniors.
We also offer companion services in housekeeping, so that's really a good idea if somebody is also just coming out of the hospital and need that for short term. Companion is more of a social, more than a medical based visit. It would be shopping and maybe some light meal preparation and maybe playing cards or watching TV. So we do those services also. And I am the representative for all of New Jersey, and I can be reached at 848-303-0902, or you can visit our website at www.pthomecare.com.
And just in case there's people like this Veterans Home Care and Personal Touch Home Care, if you're confused about the relationship or where we're both here, we actually use Personal Touch Home Care. We contract through our network of providers, and this is how we provide home care all over the state and most of the country, is by contracting with licensed home care companies, reputable ones that have been around a long time and are proven in the community. So we have been using Personal Touch for almost all 5 years that we've been here in New Jersey, and I would say that we've had, and our clients have had a great experience. So we're actually contracting or subcontracting the home care after we have vetted our cases, believe that we have a good qualified case, somebody that's eligible for aid and attendance, and then we do the application with the client, including a home appointment where we help fill it out, submit it, and then we contract the home care. We even fund it while we're waiting for the VA to adjudicate the claim, because it still takes several months. And then when they get the funds from the VA, then they pay for the home care service. So that's our relationship.
It's fantastic, and that helps the senior out for sure. So, Evan Coltman, Meg Lebetz, I want to thank you both for appearing on the Senior Report and explaining to our seniors and their caregivers the services that you provide. We try to bring you quality services and products through the Senior Report. So today, having Veterans Home Care and Personal Touch is our way of reaching out to our seniors and their caregivers. Keep watching the show, and we'll see you again very soon. Now back to the studio, where we'll give you an update on what's going on around town. Thanks for joining us, folks. I'm George Cruz, your host of the Senior Report. Again, we try to bring you services and products for seniors and your caregivers. Please stay tuned to the Senior Report as we transition into a new year. Happy holidays to all of you. And we hope within the next month or so to visit and interview our new mayor, Derek Armstead. We wish the outgoing mayor the very, very best, and happy holidays to you all.